economy or getting into the digital space. We're looking at ways of easing communication. That was when we were going to, or we just had CHOGM, and we're looking at enabling the delegates, but also the bigger forum here, Ugandans, to access information and accurate information in a very affordable manner. So with that initiative, Government of Uganda, through the means of ICT, developed a project that's a NBI, or the National Backbone Infrastructure / EGI, e-government infrastructure. I'll give a description of those two. The NBI is like the channel of communication. This is the fiber optic cable. We are usually referring to it as a fiber optic cable. This is a fiber that enables the transmission of information at the speed of light, because it's actually traveling at the speed of light. We use light to communicate. And the EGI, e-government infrastructure, is the storage facility. That's what we know as the data center, because we are communicating, but that information has to reach somewhere and to be processed for it to have meaningful insights or meaningful value that government and even the private sector can utilize. So they developed that project. We started with phase 1, that was connecting majorly Kampala and Entebbe, and a bit of Jinja, some Lugazi, went all the way to Lugazi. Then went into phase 2. This now expanded a wider reach of government and some private sectors. Phase 3 now went more regional. We went to about 40 districts. And phase 4 was focusing on the last mile connectivity, and that's what we did from 2020 to 2022. It was more of connecting the last end user, or the end user to the backbone.
Okay.
Now we are going to phase 5. Phase 5, we're going big bang. We want to connect the whole country, 100% of the districts in Uganda. That's a combination of the UDAP and the phase 5 project. But phase 5 now complements the achievements of all the phases plus UDAP, and it locks the whole, or connects the whole country to the backbone. What does that mean? We will have presence, fiber optic cable presence in all districts in the country, including islands, or the Kalangala and I forget the second island. There are 2 islands that we're also focusing on, that we will also be taking government backbone infrastructure or government connectivity. With that connectivity, with that outreach, we'll now be able to have our citizens, the government, and all other stakeholders included or brought into the digital economy. That's what we want, and that's what we have been preaching as government, to get people, both the private and the public sector, into the digital economy, for them to benefit the achievements, or to have those benefits of being digital. IT is an enabler in all sectors. It cuts across all sectors. There's no sector that should be left behind in this digital economy. The benefits are that you are enabling citizens first to have quick and accurate and more useful information at their fingertips, but also most of those bureaucratic, slow and costly processes to get a government service or even to do business. The cost of doing business shall be lowered. We shall also be able to reduce the cost of internet.
I was coming to that.
Yes, that's one of the biggest achievements
Yes.
we will be experiencing. After the 4th phase, we saw a 50% reduction in the cost of internet. The cost was, when we started the journey of the digital economy or the digital transformation, internet was at a price of $1,260 for 1 megabyte per second per month.
Wow.
1,260, and that's just only 1 megabyte.
1 megabyte.
Yes, now it is $35.
Okay, still a bit expensive,
It's
but
expensive.
a very big difference.
It's a very big difference,
Yes.
but now we are competitive in the region. We are now close to the countries that have the coastal point of presence to the undersea cable. It's more, it's cheaper to get direct internet from the undersea cable, but we are now competing with such countries like Kenya and all the other countries that are getting internet from the source.
Okay.
And we intend to even reduce that cost to be equal to the countries that are receiving the direct internet from the undersea cable.
Okay,
Yes.
Interesting highlights here. Now, Dr. Mugasa, are you saying that with the launch of Phase 5, then underserved and rural areas will have better access to internet?
That is correct. We are going to all the districts, as I mentioned. We'll be starting from where we intend to launch from where we ended in Phase 4. That was in Karamoja. Now, at Moroto point of presence, we want to go all the way to Kabong, get up to the northern border side, come down all the way to Kisoro, Kabale, and connect back to Karamoja from the Jinja route and Lake Victoria and all the way to Jinja. This is going to enable the unserved and underserved regions that have actually a big, vibrant population and
That's
are
right.
being left behind.
Yes.
Are being left behind. In terms of development, IT now opens up borders. We now create an environment where someone in Kabong can access information or can get a business proposal to do what we call business process outsourcing, business proposal to do work, either in Uganda or internationally. So you don't have to come all the way to Kampala to access these facilities. Once you are online and you are accessing affordable internet, you're able to get or to do the same work that someone in Kampala or in New York is doing in Kabong. And that's what we want to do. The underserved population who are educated, these are people who have come to universities here in Kampala. They are looking for jobs in Kampala. We're telling them, don't all concentrate in Kampala. You can now do business from anywhere once you are online. And that's what we are promoting.
Once you're online. Now, if you're just joining us, we are having a conversation regarding the overview of the different phases that have been launched already by NITAU on the national backbone infrastructure. If you have any questions regarding the same, you can reach us through WhatsApp number 0709-602-592. I'm having a conversation with the ED NITAU, that is Dr. Hatwib Mugasa. And if you're just joining us, I would like for Dr. Mugasa to tell us again the districts and regions that are being targeted this time round.
Maybe I could explain the districts that have been connected.
Okay.
There are 53 districts that have fiber optic cable. This is a government backbone fiber optic cable. And in Phase 5, we want to take this backbone to 62 districts. There are some districts that are also going to be covered in UDAP, but focusing on the NBI Phase 5, we are going to 62 districts. We will take close to about 5,600 kilometers of fiber optic cable. That is the NBI, or the highway cable. Then last mile, we will take close to about 3,000 kilometers of last mile cable. So in total, we intend to have one of the biggest infrastructure in Uganda. This infrastructure will be, the primary use is for government to access and use the backbone at the lowest price to reduce on costs, cost of using internet. But also we intend to extend it to the private sector. The private sector, especially the internet service providers or the ISPs, are usually having challenges in extending their reach to the people. We're saying we have a reliable, resilient cable that everyone can use, not just only government, but also the private sector. We want to make it the most reliable cable with the highest capacity in Uganda, so that Uganda will, or the government shall utilize it, but there will be extra capacity that the private sector can also use, and also reduce on the cost of investment for private companies. So the MNOs, the ISPs, MNOs, these are the mobile telecom companies, the internet service providers, who are having a challenge in extending their services to the people or to the citizens. We want to bring them on board, and they utilize this backbone to also do business or extend their services to the last mile users.
Okay, now let's talk about closing the digital divide. Still, it's more or less the same thing, but I'm curious to know how this expansion contributes to bridging the digital divide, especially in terms of education, healthcare, and business in remote areas.
Thank you, Olivia, for that question. Yes, in terms of bridging the digital divide, we are working closely with the means of ICT, and national guidance, and all other sector players like UCC to provide awareness. First, awareness. Before even going into training, we need to inform and interest the population on the need to go digital. What are the benefits? Instead of providing a technology that will, in most cases, be a challenge if they do not know how to use it, we are working with the means of ICT to develop what we call awareness sessions, but also institutional training sessions from internal, because we as government, we also need to be aware and also be appraised of how this technology can be of good or be put to good use. And we're looking at ambassadors within government. I will admit NITA as an IT authority, we don't have that muscle to reach every area or every sector and every region of Uganda, so we are partnering with agencies like the local government ministries, the Ministry of Local Government. I believe also the Ginger College agreed to come and work with us. They have a very good training facility where we can bring together the key players, provide this knowledge on how the digital divide can be reduced before even they begin interacting with this technology. Once we get them on board, then we want to also work with the local government representatives to now bring the key stakeholders within their regions. We're looking at, like if we look at one of the biggest initiatives right now, parish development model.
Yes.
We're working with them to see how we can get the inclusivity pillar raised or utilized digitally using
how so?
Yes, that is a good question. Inclusivity or the financial inclusivity mandates that the beneficiaries of this program, PDM, should be included in the financial sector. We should first of all learn about the financial, or get informed about the financial models that they can use, and also get involved financially. The current or the previous model of transaction would be purely paper-based or manual-based. But parish development model, we're looking at a very expedited process of getting people out of the peasant economy.
From analog.
Yes, a manual process
Yes.
will not achieve that. We're looking at a technical or a digital process. So financial inclusion, we're seeing how we can assist that pillar to be promoted through fintechs. There are so many fintechs in Uganda. SACCOs in Uganda, we're saying how can those SACCOs be enabled to assist the pillar, but in a digital form. So we can assist them in developing solutions. We have also worked with the Ministry of ICT and National Guidance to have the parish development model system hosted at NITA. So we host the national, the parish development system at our data center, but also the financial inclusion pillar. We're assisting the fintechs to be a part of that parish development model, and also expedite the process of getting the citizen out of the peasant economy to a prosperous and more useful economy through the use of technology.
And I believe that is music to many Ugandans' ears.
Yes, that's a very big achievement, and there's a lot more achievements that we're also doing. Maybe that was on the new achievements, but if you can look at the fundamental achievements that the backbone is bringing on board, identity. One of the challenges was a citizen was we would have issues with identifying who is a Ugandan citizen.
Okay.
And with the formation of the National ID Authority, or NIRA, we're able to now register citizens, validate them, and get them ID cards. But now we're looking at even taking a step further on what do you need, or what's the purpose of the ID? Instead of just identifying you as a citizen, can it enable you to transact? Can it enable you to do much more than just having an ID card?
What do you mean by transact?
Thank you very much.
Because I know when I go to the bank, if I'm withdrawing money, they will ask for my national ID, I'll give it to them. Or if I'm opening a bank account, I will give it to them. But when you say transact, this looks, in my head, I'm hearing ATM.
Yes, an ID is identifying, or is a representation of you as a person.
Yes.
But you as Olivia have other functions. You can buy goods, you can sell goods, you can do much more. But just as you have explained, it's good that you even mentioned that when you go to the bank, let me take it from the first point of interaction with the bank. When you go to the bank, and probably maybe Olivia, you don't have a bank account, and you want to open up a bank account. The first thing they do is they ask for your national ID.
Yes.
And you present the ID, and the bank goes through a process of now creating the bank account for you. Then when you want to do other transactions, maybe you want to buy a piece of land, you still have to present your ID. All points of contact with government, at least every major point of contact with government, there is a need for a citizen to present an ID. That is good, but is it the best way to do it? Can't we do it in a more efficient way? If your ID was digital, and that's what we're discussing with NIRA. If your ID was a digital ID, that means that Olivia coming to the bank, you will not need a hard copy. Well, you can present your physical ID, but you can also issue a command to the bank to receive your digital ID, and every other office where you are going to go and present a physical copy, you can issue that command in a click of a button.
That's
so
very
the process
interesting.
of opening up an account at the bank, opening up a TIN number, URA is already at that point of digitizing, land registration, even school or academic papers, or if you're going to the university, all offices that need to identify you, Olivia, can now receive your digital ID. And that now makes the process of receiving or being assisted by or receiving government services much more shorter and faster. That is what we say, shortening the process.
I like that. I like that because I know many Ugandans have been affected in the event that you did not carry your original ID or that you lost it. But in the event that you have the digital one and then the physical one, it makes the entire transaction process even more smooth. Now let's turn our focus to the data. The data center in Entebbe. Tell us more about that.
Yes, the data center is one of the facilities that are going to be built at the Entebbe Center. We are calling it the IT Park. The IT Park at Entebbe, Lunya. We were given land of about 17 acres to build facilities that are beneficial for government of Uganda. And one of the facility is a data center. We currently have 2 data centers for a national purpose or for storage of information. We intend to build a 3rd national data center. We are expanding in UDAP. We were expanding the existing facilities, but the 3rd national data center now will have more capacity. We'll be able to take on more services. We're hosting close to about 200 government systems. The current savings to government is about $90 million per year. So annually, we're saving government $90 million to host a system, or all the 200 systems at our national data center. This is because we are consolidating on the cost of maintenance, cost of power, cost of even hosting these services or building individual data centers. But we are now taking it to a bigger scale. We want to have a facility that will host more than 1,000 government systems, and the cost savings will be much more bigger. So that's one of the facilities. We also want to build business operation center, BPO centers. The BPO center will enable startup companies. We have had a couple of very innovative, youthful engineers, or players in the IT sector who want to get into the IT industry but have a challenge of identifying a premise or getting together to get clients and work on business. The BPO center will handhold these innovators, the incubators in the IT space, and it will take them through the process of acquiring either work in the IT locally or internationally. We have seen a couple of BPO centers set up here. Examples are call centers, but we're looking at knowledge centers also, like in legal, the legal sector, in accounting, even in software development. We have had a couple of very innovative startups that are working with the big tech companies like Google and Amazon to write soft code here in Uganda.
Here in Uganda?
Here in Uganda, yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, we have them here, and they're very bright.
Okay.
So we're saying let's bring in that skill set. Let's help them flourish. Let's help them and empower them to even do more, not just to work in isolation. Let's bring them together, train them. Those that need training, we want to train them in that facility, and then we give them a year. We propose a year of training, then 1 year extra of operating at Entebbe. Then the third year, we now look at moving them out. We don't want them to stay in that launch phase. We want them to move out and be a productive company.
Spread their wings.
Yes, we will have a unicorn here in Uganda. That's our vision for the IT park.
Unicorn.
Yes.
Okay. And who knows, at some point we may have our own Silicon Valley.
Yes, actually we are. We were looking at how to term it, but probably when it's launched, we'll come up with a very
maybe something really Ugandan.
Very Ugandan.
So, Doctor, is this already in the works, or it is just something that is in plans but has not yet started being worked on? The data center and all the UTC.
Yes. The data center is already in works. It was approved. The data center is part of the NBI Phase 5 extension. Just as I had explained, the NBI/EGI, e-government infrastructure. So it's that e-government infrastructure component. We are already in the phase of surveying the land. The land was already allocated to NITA by His Excellency the President. We appreciate and thank you for allocating that land to NITA. We have got an investor who was also brought on board by His Excellency. He insisted that let's work with this investor. And we are now looking at, I sent the team to China to look at the equipment, the factory inspection. So in November, hopefully, November, December, we'll be breaking ground.
Okay, so now help us understand the imagery that we are seeing on screen right now.
So the IT park has a couple of facilities that we are planning to build. We have that's an innovation center where we will be having anchor companies. What we intend to, just as I explained, we don't want to be locked in our local companies. We also want to introduce knowledge or skills from the big tech companies. So we want to bring in anchor companies to come and showcase their technology, provide the right knowledge and experience to the people in the park. There will be an exhibition center that will now also exhibit the different products within Uganda or within the park. For those who will be hosted at the park, we want to also have a stall where they can also exhibit their products to the visitors. We will also have a now that's a BPO, or what the IT park, the BPO and Innovation Center. The BPO Center will have a working space where startup companies can apply. They will be vetted. We'll bring them in. We will host them. We don't intend to put a cost to this, because this is this is the support that we are providing to government. Or if there's any cost associated, we want to minimize the cost, operational cost for those startup companies. Provide internet, provide the working space, and guide them through the process of being a BPO service provider. And then we will also have, those are the investor proposed to have living spaces, because this is Entebbe. The location is quite conducive for IT work, just like Silicon Valley. You want a
by the lake?
Yes,
Okay.
not so close to the lake, but yes, you can have a view of the lake. But because of the environment and that environment that enables you to have that innovation think tank mind. With the investor proposed to have also a living space where the IT or the people within the IT park, either the startups or the anchor companies, the big tech companies, maybe they would want to host their people in the park. We'll also have that location available to them. And yes, I think the rest of the artistic drawings are more of the designs or the investor's vision of how the park will be.
All right. This at least the artistic impression looks like something out of the ordinary, state of the art. Maybe this is a personal question, but I believe I'm speaking for many Ugandans. Do we see ourselves at a point in time where we will not have to import certain? Okay, we will have to, because it's business, but where we can now maybe have, let's say, locally made cell phones, locally made computers, where Ugandans that may not afford to buy, let's say, an Apple product can buy a locally made product, but which is competitive as other globally, as other products that are on the global market.
Yes, thank you for bringing that question up. I should have answered it in the digital divide challenge that we are facing. Yes, knowledge or awareness was one of the answers to the digital divide, but another challenge is the affordability of devices, and these are smart devices. Uganda, with a population of 45 million, has only 22 22 million devices, and these are devices that are not attached to an individual. Most of us have two phones or mobile phones. I'm looking at the mobile phone devices. So that means that close to about 10 to about 13 million Ugandans actually have smart devices and used smart devices. This is a third of the population. The challenge is affordability. If you look at we're looking at different modes of improving that divide, the digital divide, and at NITA we are proposing to have to bring in what I call the anchor companies in the smart device production chain. When a device is being made, the raw materials, the precious metals, are actually sourced from Africa.
That's
close
right.
to about 90% of the raw materials are first sourced from Africa.
That's true.
And then moved to the developed nations to manufacture, and they bring them back at a very exorbitant cost. We're saying, why don't we be part of the production chain? Instead of just extracting these precious metals, let's be part of the production, bring in the anchor companies to start the production in Uganda. There are some components like the motherboard, or some have high-end production, they need high-end production equipment, but the very basic components that are sourced, the raw materials are sourced from Uganda. It's very specific, from Uganda. Why don't we start with a production in Uganda and even benefit in terms of export revenue, so that when they are returning back to Uganda, we have already benefited on the cost of production, but when they are coming back, we also emphasize on a reduction in taxes or the cost of the device in Uganda. The production chain is high tech. We can't. We are aiming to have fully 100% production chain in Uganda, but for the start, we're looking at what can we start with at the moment. So we're working with a couple of investors. We have met a couple of investors with the help of PASAID and UIA. We have identified land. There's land in, I believe, in Nakasongola, where one of the investors is coming next week. They'll be coming to now set up the factory. We're working with another investor from the US with the help of PASAID to bring in assembly or manufacturing specialists who can now train the local Ugandans in manufacturing, and also they intend to bring in equipment to do the pre-processing of those devices that can be now shipped to be completed and then returned back to Uganda. So the access to devices, our initiative is let's be part of the production chain and also be a substitute to the foreign or having all our revenue taken out, yet that revenue for those devices started from Uganda, or the raw material started from Uganda. Let's be part of that and also benefit in that production chain.
Okay, interesting. Now, I have a question for you, Doctor, from Bwambale Enos in Kasanda town. And he says, thank you, ED, for the information, but internet connectivity, by the internet connectivity in the region. However, hackers are increasing. What plans do you have to curb the culprits?
Yes, we noticed when we started the journey, the digital transformation journey, as I said, in 2006, we were focusing on service or usage. And one area that I observed was neglected was cyber security. At NITA, National IT Authority, we have the National SAT, where the host of the National Cyber Emergency Response Team that monitors the traffic. Its focus is mainly on government traffic, but we also have partnership with the private players. There's a lot of traffic within the telecos, this internet traffic, even with the financial sector. So we have partnership with them, and we are insisting on a change of deployment in terms of IT.
Yes.
First, we supervise, we make sure that the systems are secure, the systems that are coming in. If you are procuring a system specifically for government, we ensure that we review that system and certify it. First, you have to be certified as a company, and also the system has to be certified. So we have a certification office within NITA, but we are also advising different agencies to focus or to allot 20% of their budget to cyber security. If you are procuring, let's say, a system worth $20 million, 20% of that $20 million must be focused. That is industry standard. If you look at the IT infrastructure that's needed for securing, like firewalls, it's very costly, and you have to keep maintaining it. It's a very costly system. So if we neglect those areas, then our systems that we are bringing in will still be hacked. But under UDAP, that's the World Bank project, we noted that some agencies probably had already procured systems that they did not focus on the security infrastructure, and we are procuring some infrastructure like firewalls and all those gateways to install in this environment and enable those systems to be secure.
All right, thank you, Doctor. Now we have come to the end of our conversation, but I would like for you to share your last remarks.
Yes, thank you, Olivia. And I would like to inform the citizens that technology is here to stay. We are going to, or we're moving, we're in the fourth industrial revolution, but some studies predict that that will be gone very soon, and we'll be moving to the fifth industrial revolution in terms of deployment. We'll be moving to AI and artificial intelligence. These are areas that we need to interest ourselves. We cannot neglect technology. NITA is a government agency that supports or promotes the use of technology. We are under the Ministry of ICT, and with this support or the journey that we are moving, we will be out of the developing and be in the developing nations. IT is one of the biggest catalysts for that transformation. If we are to intentionally transform our economy, let's put a lot of emphasis in getting the people first first informed and getting them the skills in IT, but also the whole wide forum to support the use of IT for the development of Uganda.
Thank you, Dr. Hatwib Mogasa. He is the Executive Director, that is National Information Technology Authority, NITA-U. And we've been discussing the impact of the expansion of the national backbone infrastructure, and NITA-U will be launching the phase 5. Now we can't go any further, but thank you so much for being a part of the conversation. Maybe as I leave, I have greetings from still Wambale Enos in Kasanda, who is sending greetings and success wishes to all students preparing to sit computer education exams as a discipline, and all the candidates of 2024. And special greetings to and success greetings to his brother Kamala Edgar at Citizens Secondary School Kasese, and all students at St. Charles Vocational School Kasanga Bwera Secondary School. Oh, thank you so much, and even I wish great success to the candidates. Now, Good Morning Uganda continues as Ruben Pima is coming up next with sports updates. Stay tuned.
Live from UPC Studios in